guys, I wanted to update you on what we've been doing in our homeschool and an exciting new thing that is going to be changing our homeschooling. Well, not really our homeschooling, but my role in our Classical Conversations community. Most of you probably know, if you followed me or if you've read my description box below, that we educate classically and we participate in Classical Conversations. We've done it for 5 years, so we'll be entering our 6th year this fall, and I am actually going to be directing our community this fall. So I'm super excited about that. That's kind of also why I haven't done many YouTube videos, because that transition is kind of happening now. I am taking registrations from families in our community for next year and things like that. So there's always going to be some of that kind of figuring out of the role. And as I take on new things, you know, some things have to give as I take on new roles and kind of find that balance once again. So that is where I have been the last week or two. And the other thing is, I kind of wanted to update you guys on second semester 2017, what I kind of what I want for it and what I'm seeing in my children and that kind of a thing. So typically when it gets to be when we start our year, we take what worked last semester and we also add in a few new things. So we've done that, and what I'm really seeing right now, and what I've remembered from years past, is I always like to look ahead, and spring semester is really, especially that first month back, your kids grow and they change, and mentally they are capable of more as the months go by. And so it's really, I feel like it's a crucial time to look towards the end of the year and just say, where do I want my child to be, mostly like independently, by the end of the year. Your curriculum lays out where they should be in their, you know, in math and in English and things like that. So that's not really what I'm looking at, but I'm really looking at what I want them to be kind of capable of by the end of the year. That's not to say they'll have it and I can check that off my list, because of course, as human beings, we just constantly need to relearn things and be reminded of things and such and so forth. But I will say it is nice to kind of think, especially for my oldest, because he's my oldest. I've never taught this grade before. I've never really, you know, raised a child of this age before, so I'm figuring it out as I go along. But I do feel like it's helpful to have those ideas and milestones in your mind, and work towards those with your child. So for my son, my 4th grader, there are certain things that I would like him to be able to do by the end of the year, and I don't expect full independence, of course, from a 4th grader, but just things like reading on his own for a set amount of time. And I'm not going to say a set amount of time, because I really feel like that differs so much from child to child. But, you know, that kind of thing, and also just what I expect him to do independently in his schoolwork every day, that is definitely changing. And I've heard over and over and over, the 4th grade year is like such a huge year for their mental growth, because they just expect more, and, you know, it only goes up from here. So I really have felt like there are some things that we need to work toward, and I need to encourage as his mother and teacher. So things like that. So I just wanted to kind of update you guys on how I kind of look at the end of the year, and then how I tweak our homeschooling to work towards that, because we only have a matter of weeks before the end of the school year if you take a summer break, which we do. So I feel like that there's a time crunch now, and there's like, okay, we need to be serious about what we're looking at and how we're moving towards those goals. So what I've tended to do, instead of like all the things that we were doing in the fall, is I tend to cut out kind of more of the busy work. It's great, like I have him trace maps, I have him, you know, write his days of the week in cursive and things like that, but he did that practically every day last fall, and even through January. But now we kind of cut out some of that work and work toward where we want to be at the end of the school year. So for us, we are working toward Memory Master, and that has to do with Classical Conversations. We're also working on a big paper. It's called Faces of History, and that's also through Classical Conversations, their Essentials program. And so I feel like those are the two big things that kind of take precedence. So those are moved to the top of the list and everything else is moved down. So I kind of almost flip-flop my schedule, because the things that we used to start with, more of the, I guess you could call it busy work type of things, although, you know, it has equal importance. It's just, I'm flipping them around right now. And so the things that we used to do in the afternoon, we're now doing in the morning, just to make sure they get done. And so, because I would always do English and memory master review in the afternoon with my oldest, because then my little two would for sure be off playing. So we've kind of flip-flopped that, and we're doing it when he's fresh in the morning, and math is kind of dropped down even below that. And that seems to be working, because then for sure I know we're getting to it. For me, I really need that, because if something is kind of looming in the back of my mind and I know we have to get to it, but we don't do it first thing, it's really difficult for me. So that is basically my plan. It's not really anything too earth-shattering, but I feel like you need to do that as you get into the second semester. You kind of need to have that goal in mind and kind of tailor your everyday schedule to reach those goals. So I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you guys in my next video.